This is Fred from Profil, and today I'm talking with Mr. Tom Scherpenzeel from the very accomplished Dutch band KAYAK. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's good to talk to you. Your newest album, 17, will be released on January 12th this coming year. First, congratulations for such a longevity, knowing that CC the Sun is dated back in 1973. So definitely something to be proud of.
It's 44 years ago, so well, I can't imagine that. If you had asked me in 73 how many albums you think you're going to make and do you think you would be still active in 2017, I would have said, no, maybe not. So it's amazing that we still get the chance to keep on going.
Yeah. Talking about 17, can you tell us a little bit about the theme or the concept, if any?
Well, that's not a real concept. We made a lot of concept albums in the past, like rock operas, the Merlin and Nostradamus, and the latest one, Cleopatra. And this time, it's an assortment of songs basically, and some songs are longer than other ones, like we often have. You know, the real epic stuff. I like to write that. I also like to write the shorter form. It's just a different challenge, and the only thing that combines it is the title, really, which it's the 17th studio album.
Yeah.
So that's basically the idea, and it was originally it was a working title, but you know, you get used to it, and well, let's just call it 17.
Yeah, that's original. Furthermore, about the album 17, it will feature some guest appearances. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, well, the most obvious one, of course, for international viewers and listeners, will be Annie Latimer from Camel.
Yeah.
We have a long relationship going back to '84. I've played in the band Camel several times, did several tours with them, and we always kept in touch throughout the years, whether we played together or not. And the last time we played together was, I think, almost 3 years ago. We had a great European tour, and when I was starting to write for this album, there was one particular piece, Ripples in the Water, on the Water, and it's an instrumental. And I really wrote that with Andy in mind. At that point of time, I wasn't sure whether I would make a new KAYAK album or not. And he said yes immediately, and so he contributed in a fantastic way, I think. I'm really proud and thankful that he wanted to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, our own guitar player, the band's guitar player, Marcel Singer, is fantastic too. This adds just a little bit extra to the whole concept and the idea.
Yeah, especially with long-term friends like this, right? It's great.
Yeah, and he's a fantastic. You know, he's you hear one note of him and you know it's him.
Yeah.
That's
in the same frame of ideas, moving forward, you surrounded yourself with a brand new musician lineup. Can you tell us how it was for the selection process and a little bit more about these great talented musicians?
Yeah, well, the way it goes nowadays is that you check everyone out through YouTube. You know, you get direction from people. Listen to him, listen to that guy, and he may be something for the band. Then you distillate people, and then after you think, well, this could be something, you make contact, and then you come together and find out whether it works or not. And so the first one I checked out was Bart Sweatman, the singer. He was really the first one I auditioned, and I thought he was really good then. But I thought it can't be true. It's that the first one I'm looking at, I'm trying, will be the one that. So I kept on looking, and I tried several other vocalists. But after 3 or 4 months of trying, I listened back to the audition he made. And I thought, well, this guy's really very good. So I asked if he was still interested, and he was. So I'm happy he joined the band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and then I was looking for a guitar player. It was a process of about like half a year of finding people.
Wow.
And Marcel I found throughout, also I checked him out on YouTube, but he came through our manager, who is also manager of Riverside and Pain of Salvation.
Yeah.
So that's a combination, and he said, try Marcel, he's very good, and he is. He's an amazing guitar player, and besides knowing how to interpret the themes that the notes are there, that's the way of that's how you should play it. But the way he plays it, it gives it a little more extra, and especially in his solo, he does very unexpected things, and I like that.
Yeah.
I can't think of solos, but he does something extra. He makes twists and turns in the solo that you don't expect, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and Christopher Gildenlow that I already interviewed a couple year back. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's from Sweden. He used to play in Pain of Salvation.
Yeah, exactly.
Full of coincidence, but at the same time it's not. And he lives in Holland now for like 7 years. And I also was directed to him by other people. I checked him out, and he's amazing. I asked him to play one track on the album just to find out, because his strength is especially his fretless bass, and he can play that like a fretless, but he can also play the fretless like a fretted bass, which is very exact and strong and pushing. And because usually you make a use of a fretless bass for the lyrical things you can do with the bass. And but he's very all round, and I asked him to play on cracks. He played cracks. The rest of the album I played myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm a bass player. I love that more than piano actually. And but Christopher is 10 times as good as I am. I'm just I'm a hobbyist on bass, but I know what I want, and I really love doing it. But he's the master. And
you need a bass player for touring.
Of course, I mean, I was thinking of live, but I thought, well, this could be a track that he could work on both ways, the fretless and the fretted. And then I also was looking for a drummer, of course, and I came up with the name of Colin Lionaar. Colin. When I asked him to do the album, he wanted to, but he was busy with family and business, and so really he couldn't make it. So I asked somebody else who did a great job as well, Leon Rommelmond. He's a much asked session player in Holland. And then when we were looking for making a tour and scheduling it appeared that Leon couldn't make it. So I came back to Colin and asked him, "Are you still interested?" And he was. So and the good thing is that Colin and Christopher already played together in a New Morse band.
Yeah.
So that they make a very tight rhythm section, and I'm very happy with them as well.
That's very interesting. You already mentioned this is your 17th studio album. Like, how was it to write songs back in the 70s compared to today in 2017, like a KAYAK album?
Basically, it's the use of computers. I'm using Pro Tools and as well for MIDI as for audio. And it's you can develop your ideas much further than you could in the past. In the past, I had a piano, and I went to the band and this is about what I think it should be, and now I can be more decisive and more conclusive in ideas that I want. Although I leave a lot of space for them, but I can always come back to ideas that I filed somewhere and I thought, I think I had that, and let's go back, and then I take another hard disk, and you're much more flexible.
Yep.
The only downside is that you constantly have to decide what you want. That's the main problem with producing, I think, in general. But it's constantly making decisions. but for me, the songwriting, I still write on piano, and that hasn't changed really. But the way you record things and the flexibility of the system, that's really a plus for me.
How does 17 stack up with the rest of the discography?
How you mean?
Like how does it fit in the whole KAYAK discography?
Well, for me, it's a logical progress from what we did. I can place every album in its context because I know what I did and what the band did to make it. But obviously, the listener doesn't have that background. So I think it's very hard to decide for me what exactly its place is. I think it's a combination of new stuff that I'm trying out, and there's also sort of going back to the adventure of writing longer pieces, longer epics, not within the constraint of a rock opera, because our rock operas also contain longer pieces, but that's very much constrained within the framework of the story. And like the three epics on the album La Peregrina and Walk Through Fire and Cracks, I just started somewhere, and of course then I found out that 15 minutes was a bit long for Cracks, so I cut it down to 9 or 8. But it was sort of an adventure, more than the shorter formats we had before. And that's a thing that I felt in the past too. Like every song should be an adventure to write.
Yeah, that's good. Do you consider KAYAK to be progressive rock still?
I don't know. I never think in labels. In Holland we have a prog rock. It's not as often used as in our case. They call us symphonical rock.
Yeah.
And I found out that it's only a term that we use in Holland. And for me it's progressive. I mean, how long can you stay progressive? I mean, if you play the same thing for 40 years, are you still progressive? I don't know. For me, it's a label, and it's easy for the listener and for the audience to categorize it and sort of what you can expect. But it doesn't classify the stuff we're doing. I think not completely. It can't, because we also have. If you take the extremes of our repertoire. There are little silly songs on Nostradamus. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
There's straightforward rock songs, and there's a huge field in between. So how can I label it? It's for other. I don't care. I mean, if they want to label it prog rock, I'm fine with that.
In Holland, would you consider like prog or symphonic rock to be healthy? The genre.
Holland is a very small country, and so it's healthy in perspective. It's very difficult to live from our sort of music. You need to go abroad because it's too small here. But as a genre, I think it lives. It lives, and you have the biggest name at the moment in our genre, although he's more metal. Is Arjen Lucassen.
Yes.
I know him very well. I played something on one or two of his albums. And he even bought a Profil 5 synthesizer from me a couple of years ago. And but he's the biggest name in Holland, and he's really drawing lots of audience. And Anneke van Giersberg, I'm sure you know her. But they're a little bit more to the metal side of prog and of symphonic rock, but in general, I think the genre it lives. Yes.
Yeah, good. Will you be touring to promote the new album?
Yeah, we're starting with a small promotional tour by the end of January, and then we hope to get a tour abroad. We need to go outside our borders. It's difficult because we're a name, but promoters don't seem to be sure the kind of audience we'll be drawing. So it's a sort of a puzzle, but I'm sure they'll work it out sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly.
I really hope. I like to play, I like to tour, and Holland is too small. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. If there was one thing, there's probably things that you haven't done music-wise that you wish you would. What would it be?
It would be something, but it's really difficult. I touched a lot of styles, and I touched a lot of genres, but I'd like to work more with an orchestra. I would like to make an album with an orchestra. And of course we made use of an orchestra, but it's always, little bits and pieces,
Yeah.
and only when we could afford it. But I would like to make an album with an orchestra, and that would be one of the things that I would like to do.
Great. I still have a few more questions, but these questions they'll require only one word answer.
Oh,
Okay, I always finish my interviews that way. So you ready? If you don't want to answer, you just say pass.
Okay.
What country you haven't played yet, but you wish you did?
Ooh, Greece.
Greece, nice. Name one prog rock festival you always wish you could play at or perform at.
Well, I played there with Camel 3 years ago on Lorelei.
Lorelei, nice.
Yeah, that's a really nice festival. So that wish has come true, but I would like to play there with KAYAK as well.
One word to describe the new album 17.
Adventure.
Which is your own favorite track on the album?
Oh, that's. I wish you asked me in a year from now. It's very difficult. It's too close.
Yeah.
As a song, it's To an End.
To an End. Your favorite Dutch band?
Ooh.
Besides yourselves.
I'm not my favorite band. I pass.
Okay. What is the last album you've listened to in its entirety?
That's a classical album.
Oh.
Yeah, it's from a movie actually. I'm really into Baroque and Renaissance music, and it's an album from the movie called Le Roi Danse, the King Dances. It's a French movie, and it has music from a favorite composer of mine, Jean-Baptiste Lully. So it's not really a rock album, but it feels like Baroque if you ROCK.
Yes. What is the first album you recall buying with your own money?
An album? I think that was Absolutely Free from Mothers of Invention.
Oh. Would you say you're more a Genesis or a Yes fan?
The first period, yes. The later period, Genesis.
Okay. And the last one, pre-orders is already started for to buy the new album. So can you tell us where to get it?
Well, there's a lot of HTTP slash. So,
which I'll put at the end of the interview.
Yeah, well, it's kayakonline.nl.
Okay.
And you can find the links.
I had the opportunity to listen to your new album, and I absolutely loved it. And the person who's writing the review also loves it. So I'm looking forward to read the final result. Thank you very, very much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you on Profile. And hopefully one day see you in Quebec would be awesome.
I really hope so. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Bye-bye.
Once upon and ever after, in the land of long ago, lived a queen who held her scepter in the castle made